Hello, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are continuing with the beginner's guide. You can see I've changed some stuff up from episode 1. I actually did a stream as episode 2, but I realized that it became too... It didn't work as a teachable video. Like, it's not a quality video for teaching you guys how to play the game and giving my advice for that, at least not in a cohesive way. So I basically went back to an earlier save, and I am going to remake episode 2 as a video, and then we're going to continue on from there. It's been a while since episode 1, but hopefully people who are interested in this will like it. So if you guys want to see more of this, make sure to tell me. You tell me by liking the video, like leave comments, ask me questions, and like all that kind of stuff. And we will just jump into this. Let's not wait anymore. Just see what we will be up to today. We started with finishing the tutorial and setting up the hub, and we have this little setup over here actually doing some production for us, but we have very little automated. And let's start with the first question that I was asked in the first video, which was, why am I placing a bunch of these portable miners instead of just placing down one of the automated miners that I have? Or since they're so early on, or they're so close together, why bother? And one of the main reasons is, if I set this kind of stuff up for automated production, there is a limit to how fast stuff can be produced. And that means, for example, this one can create 30 iron ingots per minute, but and then remember that only makes 10 iron plates because there is a 3-to-1 ratio for it. So if we go in and look here, if I were to unlock this, for example, right, you can see that I would have to wait 10 minutes for the ingots, or not even 10 minutes, I would have to wait 30 minutes for the ingots from one machine to make these 300. So to skip those 30 minutes, and that's for me because I'm making videos. If you don't want to stress with that, don't bother with it. But for me, I'm putting this up so that I can skip the time it takes to wait for all of that. It's one of the reasons why I also have the mod installed, which is the manual crafting Redux, which adds a multiplier to the speed the more you're going. Like the more you craft, the faster it goes. So, and that goes up to 30 times speed as well. That is to make sure that I don't have to spend 2 hours prepping material when I can do it in 5 minutes, because then I can spend that extra time either in editing, making the video better for you guys, or I can spend it continuing progressing and showing you more progress in each video. That's why I'm doing it that way. You don't have to, but that's how I'm doing it. Okay, so what's the point of this video? What are we going? What is the goal? What are we trying to do? Well, we're gonna try and make the phase 1 or complete phase 1 and send the first bit with the space elevator. And we're also gonna do some gathering and stuff. And I want to start there, actually. Before we get into the building, I want to show you guys something really, really good, which is the lizard doggos. So if I remember correctly, there should be one down here somewhere. And lizard doggos are great. If you can tame them, they will actually give you some extra stuff, material, collectibles, stuff that will help you unlock stuff faster, will help you get certain resources that is either limited, or if not limited, at least hard to what's it called, collect in any larger quantities, and you have to go and search for them. And I'm also going to show you what's up with those guys over there. And yeah, like you can see me picking up a bunch of stuff sometimes, like the mushrooms, because they're used. You need them to unlock stuff. Now, there should be a lizard doggo around here. Oh, there we go. You can see the lizard doggo over there. Here's the thing. We need something to tame them. They can be tamed with food. They're completely adorable little idiots, and we definitely want them. But you can see it's scared of me right now. So if I try to approach, it will like say, and run away. And also, you can tell it's a sci-fi game because the trees are so advanced they're flying. And then we need to solve that, right? So let's do that. So step number one, like you can see that there's a baddie boy over there, and I don't necessarily have I might have. If it's not an alpha, I can fight it, and then we can get the thing up there as well. And I can show you guys what that's about as well. Let's start with killing this guy. It's a normal one, so that should be doable. There. Didn't have time to stop and fire at me. So we need to get up there, and normally the assumption is like you need...
This is a shrine to windows and weaving.
Oh, there we go. Like, sometimes there is features like around like this that will help you reach. So this is a Mercer sphere.
The
What does Ada have to say?
astrobiologist Dr. D.M. Mercer was the first to recognize the presence and probable nature of these alien artifacts. These chain-melted state spheres are named in his honor. Each sphere emits a unique signal and will require study to determine local application, store it for later use.
All right, so that's exactly what we're going to be doing. The Mercer spheres are used as resources to unlock very, very important quality of life features, and also the resources used to build the in-game structures needed for those quality of life features. And we will be collecting those. There's, I think, somewhere between 300 and 400 on the map. So we will be picking those up as much as possible. We're gonna need somewhere around, I think, like 120, 130 something, or is it 200 something, to completely unlock everything. So we're gonna collect them every time we see them. And sometimes we will go on dedicated hunts to collect these. But yeah, we're looking for a certain... That's an alpha. You can see it's way bigger than the other animals, so we can't really like fight that. It's way too powerful. It does too much damage. I ran past here before when I was prepping and then changing stuff up, but I swear I have done no progression off screen. There has been no unlocks and no factories built or anything like that. So yeah, like in the desert, it's very unlikely that you will find what we need, which is berries. And those berries tends to, yeah, like I said, they're not in deserts that much. If you're lucky, you might find something, but most of the time you don't. And here you see, these are berries. So you're looking for more like green grass kind of stuff. If you started, we don't have the map yet, but if you started down there in the grassy fields, oh,
Potential edible collected. If consumed before authorized is compatible with the human digestive system by Fixit, the consumer is responsible for any and all consequences.
I have a
Store this
feeling
potential
they're gonna be that
resource for
anyway.
later use.
What we need to do now is when we find it, when we find the doggo, we need to approach it again so that it notices us, and then we need to put the berries on the ground, and it will go, all right, and eat it. And once it's eaten it, we have tamed it. Let's see. And the reason why I'm not running is because sprinting tends to scare it off. So there it is. The millennial bird screaming at the high heavens is not our target here. So you can see that it notices us. Now it's like, Okay, so we want to get it to a point. I think it ran into the water. Oh no, there it is. So it's like weirded out by us. So if we do this... No, it ran away before we could do it. Okay. Here, doggo. I have to be faster with it. So run up to it. Hey, man. There. And then drop the berries on the ground. All right. I found another one. I found another doggo. So let's see if we can get him to come with us home. There. Hello. Want Betty? Come get Betty. Boom. And now that it has eaten, I can pick up what's left. Ta-da! And I have a tame lizard doggo. And I can name this something. I'm gonna name it after one of my supporters. It's gonna be Let's Build. Boom. And every few minutes, it's gonna spawn something in its inventory. It's basically it be like a little derp and going around finding stuff because it likes us. So now you can see it's following me. If I run too far away, it's gonna stop following me. So if I just walk like in a relaxed manner back to my base, to the starter base, it will just follow me. And here's the thing. This is a meta. Like if you get doggos will help you unlock some of like the stuff that you can unlock really, really fast, really well in the early game. And like so. I can also paint. Oh wait, I haven't unlocked customization yet. We can't paint it. But otherwise I intend to paint this green like it should look like grass. But yeah, now Let's Build here is safe in this. So now we have a doggo. We have collected some stuff, but there is one more really important collectible, or two more really important collectibles we're gonna be looking at before we continue. The first one is just up here. And I'm gonna just do this to get up there as a temporary thing. I do this, and then I zoom down here. And ta-da! So even if you don't have the jetpack or anything, you can still get up. You can see, okay, it's over there. I was wrong. We are just going for this. I'm not certain I can jump that gap. So I'm just going to do this. Ooh, can I please get up there? Thank you. So this is a summer sloop. Listen to this.
The Summer Sloop was named after Marie Somerville, co-founder of Fixit and head of its R&D department. There are many theories about the origin of this shape and why this symbol mathematically resembling a Mobius strip has found its way into both human and extraterrestrial culture. Thankfully, you don't need to know any of these theories to be a pioneer. Store it for later use. Fun fact: the planet you are on was found and named during a planet spotting event Marie hosted called Marie's Awesome Scientific Search of the Avant-Garde Exoplanets.
So these are really, really important. And I will show you guys later on. We don't have the stuff unlocked that actually, the way we actually use this stuff. I just want to show you guys so that when you run into it, you can like go, oh yeah, I know that. I know about that. Jack told me about that thing in a video. He's a very nice internet stranger that helps me with Satisfactory. So the next thing we're gonna be going through here is power slugs. These are the most common of the collectibles. And the reason for that is you need a lot of them. So this is a power slug. And let's listen to what Ada has to say about it.
This semi-slug species seems to persist entirely through absorbing and storing energy from its surroundings. Studying this could provide new methods for improving Fixit production line efficiency. Store this potential resource for later use.
So yeah, they are basically used for exactly that. And before we're going to be using them, we're just going to place them in here. I ran into some baddies as well on the way, so we're not gonna be taming any more doggos right now. The one down by the beach is glitched out, so I'm not gonna try with that one. But we will place all this stuff in, now that you know about those. And I will show you guys specifically what they're for and why they're so important later on. Let's start with the building. So one of the big things that I did here after episode 1 was I realized we won't fit our factory, so I made everything bigger, way bigger. So we will be starting with looking at if we have everything unlocked. What we do need, or what we want to start with producing, is something called solid biofuel, because we need power to run this factory. And we will be placing this up there, just like everything else that has to do with the phase 1. And if we look at... Where are you? There. We want obstacle clearing because it gives us the solid biofuel. Right now, we are using something else to make power. We are using biomass. And biomass is not as efficient as biofuel. Solid biofuel is about 50%, or like a little bit more than 50% more effective in terms of like how long does it run per unit you make. So that's why we want it. So we need to unlock this. So I'm going to select this milestone, and we're going to get screws. We have some. I will place in what we have so far. So we have that, and it needed 100 concrete, easy peasy. We just need a few screws, so let's just craft those up. We will send this. Yeet!
This isn't just fun, it's contractually mandated. Fun, fun, fun.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's definitely, yeah. Okay, so what we will want is to first store up on some of the resources that we just ran out of. Let's see, is there anything else that we need to unlock here? We will need this. We will need this to get anywhere. So let's... I can't place it in yet. But yeah, this is going to be our milestone. We will need this later. We will need this. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. We actually need this now. So there's a few things that we need to unlock. And what I'm going to do is quickly just handcraft everything, and I'll be back when we've unlocked these. So if you're following along, Logistics Mark II and Logistics are the ones we need for the biomass burner stuff. All right, I don't remember if I said this in episode 1, but we need 50 reinforced iron plates. To make them, you can easily just handcraft them using the screws and iron plates in the crafting bench. So that's an easy thing to fix. We have now unlocked everything we need. So if we go in here and check, and we look in, let's see, logistics. We now have an entirely new row of things here, with at least with these. We've also unlocked so we can stack belts. We have the lifts that will help us move things vertically. But more importantly, we have splitters and mergers. These are what we have been needing. Now, if we need to start this, we're gonna make a setup here. So where do we want to put it? I'm thinking it goes like over in that direction, leaving this direction to the actual like factory stuff. So I will start with placing down our starting point, which is going to be this. A container here and a, let's see, container there. We're gonna need 2 of these. This is what I call my bare minimum setup that we're going to be doing now. We're gonna expand it later, but let's start from just getting you guys to understand how it works. So I'm gonna stand up here because then we can see better. So each of these has 24 slots, which is really good because that means for a stack of leaves, if we press N, we open up our quick search. And if we type in 24 times 500, which is the size of a stack, we can't use that sign, we have to use this sign. Times 500 means we can store 12,000 leaves in each of these containers. And we're gonna need both of them. because then they lead into one constructor each. So I'm just gonna place one here, and we're gonna have one just next to it, right? I'm holding control, it snaps me. You can see the green line is indicating that they are aligned, and the like moving line underneath the text there, this is showing us, I'm just pressing H to lock it in place. This is showing us that the output is leading to an input. There, you can see it goes from green to orange. I can just click to place it down, and that's it for what we need there. You can tell now, if we go in here, we're gonna set this to make biomass from leaves. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then this one is gonna make biomass from leaves. It's gonna be the exact same thing, because both of them are the same input, technically. They're like the input for the same thing here. The thing is, if we look at what it needs to be effective, it needs 120 leaves per minute to make 60 biomass per minute. So that's why we unlocked the belts Mark II. So if I press 3 to activate that on my command, or like action bar thingy in the bottom, and if I press E when I'm in here, I'm switching which mark it is between the ones I have unlocked. So I'm gonna go for Mark II. That's why we also needed the reinforced iron plates, because they are what's used to build these belts. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna move that in there. This means that we can now move the leaves into this. And from here, these two make 60 each, right? We need to merge these lines, and that's where the logistics comes in. So I need a conveyor merger, and you can see here, you have 3 inputs and 1 output. So you can take up to 3 belts and say, hey, get into this. And here's the thing. They can only, like this one makes 60, right? So we only need the Mark I belt here. I'm gonna do this. Like, the reason why it is really like nice and 90 degrees and all that here is because I know exactly how to do that. I'm gonna show you guys later. But essentially, I'm just going to take belts from both and place into one, input each. This is 60, this is 60. Once again, we're going to need the Mark II belts to run the 200 or 120 out from the output here. And I'm gonna place another constructor like this here. And I'm gonna once again pick the belt, change it to a Mark II belt by pressing E. You can also hold it down to get a radial menu. And then I'm gonna move that in there. This one, we're gonna set to make solid biofuel, because it needs 120 biomass per minute to make 60 solid biofuel. This means this entire setup is so far 100% efficient. Then from here, this end, we get the solid biofuel. This is not just like we could theoretically or technically, I could take this and just run straight into a biomass burner here and I'd be happy. Or a set of biomass burners. But I also want a buffer in case of me forgetting to fill up or whatever, and also for me to not have to go back and forth constantly to fix with things. I will take not one, but 2 storage containers like this. Oop. Okay, so there's number 1. You can see if I lock it in place, it has this line. I could see that from here, which is how I knew it was lined up. The only thing that I want to do for my own sanity's sake is I'm going to line it up. You can see with the bottom here, it now covers one, what's it called? Foundation. Then I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do one more over here. I'm locking it with pressing H, so you can see again, it is lined up. Pressing that as well. And I am going to, you can see from there, we're gonna get 60 per minute. So we only need the Mark I belts. I'm gonna use the Mark I. I'm gonna do this. What this will lead to is, if we go up here and look, is us having 2 constructors into 1 constructor and then into containers. Now we're making 60 per minute. What does that mean? Let's bring up the biomass burner and look at what it needs. So if we click and we open the interface, and on the top left, you can see that there's this fuel canister where if I click, it tells us how much it burns per minute when we're using it. We want to be using solid biofuel. That's 4 per minute. So let's get back to our math here. 4 per minute, and we're making 60, or we will be making 60. So if we divide that by 4, we will get how many machines can be run by the production that we have set up. So 15 machines. That's exactly what we will be doing. So I will want to put out 15 of these. And to make it easy for myself to know how much resources, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna press here, add to to-do list. I'm gonna go all the way up to 15. All right, because that is going to tell me, if you look here, if we do it there, on the right side of my screen, you can now see I have all the resources I need except for the iron rods to place down 15 biomass burners. So let's go and set up or make sure that we have all the resources we need. I'm stuck. I swear, I'm good at this. Okay, I'm back, and we have all the material. I also added in prepping for like conveyor splitters and power pole and stuff like that. And the reason why I've prepped for all that is to make sure that I actually have all the resources, so I don't have to go back and forth. So how would we place this? How will we fix so that this works in a way that is satisfactory? I'm a funny guy, I swear. To us. What I will do is I want to split it up. So I will want to have 5. Hey, you too much. There. And then I want to have a gap. And then I want to have another 5. And then I want to have another 5 like this. Right? And the reason for that is so that when I make them, it's called manifolds, to feed them, it's gonna be a faster process of filling all of the machines up. Let's start with the first line here, and I am going to, you can do this however you want, okay? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show you one line, and I'm gonna fly to show you. I'm using the utility pack mod to be able to do this. So if we now look, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go into production, logistics. I could technically, what's it called? Place the biomass burners first. That's equally viable. But the reason why I want to place these first is because I want to have it lined up with this splitter. So I'm gonna have a splitter here before all others, or rather, let's do this. I think this is gonna make sense. And the reason why is because I will be running a belt into this. And then I will have, this is gonna be the furthest manifold. This is gonna be the middle manifold, and this is gonna be our first line. Okay? So to space things out so that it makes sense to you, we're going to be placing splitters like this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can also do this by opening your dismantle tool, aim at one of them like this, press G. You can see in the middle, I have a dismantle filled conveyor splitter. So I can't dismantle this. I can only dismantle these. So I can count them by doing this and holding control to do the mass dismantling. So to show again slower, I hold down control to do mass dismantling, and I do this. And while I'm still holding it down, I still have the maximum dismantle limit shown. So it's showing me I have marked 5. That's how I know, that's how I can do an easy count like that. So then I can easily just do this and connect up each. I can actually, and this is going to be a smarter way resource-wise for you guys, is doing this. And what it means is having 4 here is I will do, going to power, and I will pick my biomass burners for the first line here. where I have, if I lock this in place, this is just at the edge here on all sides, but it is technically in the center of the output here. I'm gonna do boop, and I'm gonna hold down control, and I'm just gonna go along here. They are all lined up already, and you can see there's 4. The 5th one won't have a splitter, and then from here I can just go and hook up the belts for each machine. And for this last one, if I press R so that I get my straight mode, not the gay mode, the straight mode, boom, all of these are now plugged in. And then I will just repeat this exact process over here, right? So I will have 4 like so, and then I will just same here. I'm looking at where you can see where this, the edges of this is. The edges on this is the same. And then I will just place down 5 of them like this. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. That is what we will be doing here. And I'll be back when I've fixed up. So we have 15 of these set up, and I will show you how I normally set up my power as well. Here we go. As you can see, we now have 15. If we do this again to double check, if I go into dismantle, press G, and then I just mass dismantle by holding down control and moving my mouse over all of these. There's, if I remove that again and mark it, 15 biomass burners, which is exactly what we want. And this will split it so that when we get the 60 from that coming in, it will then split, so there's 20 going down here, 20 going there, and 20 per minute going there. And of course, now it works, but we still don't have any power hooked up for any of this. And we're gonna start over here. I'm gonna show you guys what I normally do with power poles in these kinds of manifolds. So press number 1 here, or in the menu here, in power pole. You can see over here, ooh, here, you can see it's snapping and it's clipping into this, which means if I place that down, like, it's going to work. But what's more important, it looks like it's one structure. So if you place them like this, they look a little bit spindly for my taste. So this is how I have fixed this. So I will just go along and I will place the power poles in the same place on all splitters. And then you might be asking, yeah, but Jack, you're placing 4 power poles. There's 5 biomass burners. Well, how do you fix this? Well, aside from me being the kind of person who spams power poles and power connectors everywhere to make sure that I can run them in straight lines, this is the one exception where I do this. Right, you can see I'm using 2 connections. Boom, and I still have 1 open here. So 3 out of 4 connections are being used on the power pole. But I'm basically just going to drag this along here, connect all of these to each other, and then I'm going to connect this like so. Ta-da! All of these are hooked up. And then I'm going to basically repeat this for all of that, for all of these. But first, let's show over here. So what I normally do with these guys is if I press number 2 and I have my connection tool or power line tool, I just go out and I find, you see here, I'm going here. Okay, so you can see, if you use this line here, this line, that's a measuring point, the snapping here. And I do this, boom, for both, and I do this over here as well, like so. And then I use the connection tool and I connect both of them. You can see now it's tucked inside the frame of the machine, right? It's not hanging out here. And then, like I said, I want to have straight lines with power. So I will take this line and I will go out to this. So now these three machines are connected to each other. And if I open this, you can tell that there is a max consumption of 12 megawatts. And then I can go along all the way here. All the way over. Okay. And you can see here, I'm going to stop. You can see we're on a line here. So I'm going to stop here. And then I'm going to go to the next. You can see where it is in terms of in relation to the biomass burners. And then I'm going to go over here. Right? And I am going to hook this up here. This is like what I call bare minimum power. Normally, and the average in the community is to do as little of biomass power as possible, because people try to skip straight to fully automated power later with coal, so they don't tend to build anything bigger than this. I am someone who disagrees with that notion, and I will explain why later, but I tend to have quite a lot of biomass power throughout my entire game. So I will start with this, and you can see everything's red, nothing's running. If we open this, you can see it's still just 12, there's nothing else going on. And the reason for this is we need to put in fuel to run this. So let's stop flying, so we don't need that anymore. You guys have seen what it looks like. You can build this now. And we're going to get our chainsaw working. I've already crafted it up. You can craft your chainsaw here, right? But I already have one in my inventory. And what we need to fuel it doesn't use any other fuel. It needs solid biofuel. So remember, we crafted up in episode 1, we crafted up a bunch like this, right? So let's just take all the leaves we have, or biomass that we have, and craft this into solid biofuel. And this, because I'm using the Redux, manual crafting Redux mod, this goes very quickly. If you're doing this without that mod, this is gonna take forever. So keep it to a minimum. I would say, honestly, this is enough. You don't need to make more than like, yeah, what do I have now? I have 76. Okay. Now you can see in the bottom left corner, you can see that I have 75 fuel. And if I run this, it will start using that fuel. I will run up to a tree. You can see, if I run up to it, it will outline that tree. And if I hold down left mouse button, it not only fells that tree, but it takes out a bunch of stuff around it. So if I go and I do it on this leaf, boom, it removes a bunch of stuff around it. So I'm picking up multiple stacks of different things at the same time. So what I will do now, before we start up anything, oh, that was a little tree there. Before we start up anything, is I want to collect enough leaves to, not necessarily to fill up the containers, but like, or rather, I will collect enough to fill up both of the storage containers up there. I'm not expecting you to do the same thing, but I would recommend to collect at least 3 or 4, I would say an even number. So say 4 or 6 stacks of leaves. And where I'm at is very scarce with leaves. So if you want to find leaves quickly, if you're in the same spot, what I would recommend is going that direction up the hills and stuff, because then you will find the northern forest, which is a grassy area where using the chainsaw will net you a lot of leaves and what's it called, wood and stuff like that. There's it's probably the highest leaves to wood ratio there is. So if you want more wood, less leaves, that's where you definitely go. We're gonna head on over there later on. Oh, we got mycelia.
The fruit
What's
of
that?
this fungus-like flora does not seem to show much potential for use. However, its mycelial network is worth further investigation. Store this potential resource for later use.
We definitely will, because mycelia is really, really important for a lot of unlocks and stuff like that in the game. So basically, I will see you guys when I have gone let's game it out on all of these leaves. Oh yeah, everything is gone. It is now tucked into a few chests over there. There's some wood in those two. There's some mycelia and like some more collectibles. And I deforested enough that I found another 3 doggos. So, hello, why are you looking at a wall? We have Let's Build over here. Oh, he's dropped off rotors. Nice. And then we have this doggo. This is Davidowski. He's another supporter. And then we have Aspen, who's actually found some copper sheet. Nice. And then we have XPK, who in very characteristically has brought me a nuke Nobilis, which is a nuclear grenade. Awesome. 4 doggos. And these are like just around here where I've deforested, where I found these doggos. So there, like it's easy to build up to have 5, 10, 15. You just need to venture out further and further to find them. Because the way they work is if they die, they will respawn in the point where they started. But if you tame one and bring back home, that's like a dedicated slot for a doggo. So you're not gonna get another doggo spawning in the same place. There's a finite amount that you can access. And but yeah, 10, 15 should be quite kind of easy. I think I've seen some people running around with like 40 or 50, but it takes a while to find all of those. But yeah, so the way that I've done this now is I have completely filled up these 2 and have some extra here that was over when I was done. And that means that we now have leaves and everything coming in, but they don't function, right? Remember, there's no power here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the last of the solid biofuel that I have, and I am going to just put it in here. Boom. And now power is on, which means that these turn on and they will send our stuff. So if we're going to photo mode, decoupled camera, and hide the UI. So if we look here now, this is running. It's making the solid biofuel. That's just gonna pass straight through until it backs up. Because something you need to know about these, and this is an important detail with specifically these. They won't burn fuel unless it is necessary. Pretty much all other power generation methods in the game burns fuel constantly regardless of whether or not you are using the power. But biomass burners, they will only burn energy if it is being used. So if we run out of leaves, so those machines stop running. Right now they're using 12 megawatts. Let's head back here. Right now you can see they're using 12 megawatts. They're consuming 12. And when this production is hitting like, or rather it's only going to be using 12 production, but it is, when it's fully utilizing everything that I've placed down here, it will have 450 megawatts. But basically it won't be burning, it won't be producing 450. It only have the maximum capacity to be making 450. But if it's at 0, if consumption here is at 0, production would also be at 0, in which case it won't burn any fuel. And that's why I have these 2 here, because they will back up, because we won't be using 450 megawatts yet. So they will back up and start filling up these containers, which is really good. I like that. It means that we will now have... Oh, hello, Bean. It will mean that we have about 40 something hours of extra fuel sitting if these 2 are full. That can then be used to fill up and burn without me having to think about it. Which is also why I took the time to be all non-environmentally friendly on all of the trees and bushes and everything around here was specifically to make sure that I have enough leaves in here that I won't have to think about this for a long time. Thank you so much for being here. This is Editing Jack, and sorry for the sound being really crappy in the last couple of videos on the streams and stuff. I think I've fixed it now, and I also want to thank you guys for being here. The video has gone too long. I have been looking at the clips, and I feel like I've also packed possibly too much information into these first, like, what is it, 45 minutes, give or take? And I want to basically split the video here. I recorded way more for episode 2, but it's too much to put in one video. So I'm going to split off here, and I'm going to make this, up until this point, is going to be episode 2, and we will continue in episode 3. However, all the recordings will not really reflect that. It will look as if it's one episode. So think of it like episode 3 or episode 2 part 2 or something like that. But thank you so much for being here. And if you have enjoyed the video, if you feel like it's been helpful or taught you something, leave a like, subscribe, comment, do all stuff. If you want to go above and beyond, go into the description and you will find links to the Patreon, to become a channel member, and the Discord, to hang out with the community, like all of that kind of stuff. So thank you so much for being here. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!